At the end of the day, technology should be integrated all around you, there to empower you, enable your creativity, enable you to do more. Being a brand that has been a lot more bold when it comes to, different bets on how we approach product, whether it was hardware or software, we have that ability to take a bit more risk on kind of rethinking, yet feel nothing, not sort of getting in the way, and be so seamlessly interconnected all around you at different kind of interfaces. We're actually super excited about the future because there's just so much to be done when it comes to the smartphone. The smartphone user experience hasn't changed ever since the first iPhone has launched. Of course, bigger screens, things are becoming faster and so on, but drastically it hasn't really changed. Whereas our world has completely changed the way we interact with technology, the role of technology in our everyday life.
Hello and welcome to this very special conversation with Akis Evangelidis, who is the co-founder of Nothing. And this conversation is going to be a very, very special one. One that will come straight from the heart, without a script, without a set of questions. Because we are talking about nothing. Nothing means nothing. So what's nothing in nothing?
How we came up with the name?
Yes.
Yeah, when we embark on this journey, we're kind of thinking about the end state of technology. I think at the time there was a lot of negativity on how people kind of are interacting with technology and the overall relationship as a whole between people and technology. And we're thinking, okay, what should be the end state of it? And basically we start thinking about it, and then Kaopei came up. Yeah, I've been thinking about this concept of what about nothing? At the end of the day, technology should be integrated all around you. There to empower you, enable your creativity, enable you to do more, yet feel nothing, not sort of getting in the way, and be so seamlessly interconnected all around you at different kind of interfaces. Yeah, it took a few days to kind of grow in us, but eventually it felt right. Also, it created this kind of intrigue. Every time we say, oh yeah, I work for nothing, or the company name is nothing, then people are quite surprised. So I think even from a marketing standpoint, it worked really well. So yeah, that's the thinking.
And your LinkedIn profile states that you're busy with nothing. It seems that you're busy with a lot of things. So what are you busy with?
I mean, a lot of things. It's been an incredible journey, very rewarding. I think when we started Nothing, people thought it would be crazy to even, think about entering what people consider as such a saturated market. So there's been a lot of things in pipelines in terms of growing the business, building the teams, building products, driving innovation. So it's a day-to-day thing for the last 4 years. But so far it's been going great, especially here in India. Last year we had over 500% year-on-year growth. So I think we actually prove to the people that thought we're crazy to enter this industry, we proved them wrong, because people are, seeking for something new in the industry. There is appetite for a new brand like Nothing, and we're extremely bullish and excited about the future.
While we are seeing technological disruptions, while we are seeing new products getting flooded in the market, and there are behemoths, there are giants who are there in the market already, why get into it at all?
Yeah, that's a good question, but at the end of the day, it's started from a very kind of basic level kind of sentiment around the industry. Well, everyone thought that you have those big giants in the industry. To be honest, 4 years ago now, 5 years ago, as users, we just didn't feel excited about tech. We didn't feel excited where things were heading. At the time there was a lot of negativity around how people are interacting with the smartphones, privacy concerns, and there was this kind of negative loop. Whereas we grew up watching the launch of the first iPhone. I still remember it was yesterday interacting with the wheel of my first iPod. Those were magical moments. There was something really aspirational about it, something exciting, something that would get you excited about the future. And gradually that kind of feeling faded away, and it was just kind of pure product iteration with minor incremental, megapixel improvements and things like this.
More about features, right?
Yeah, just features and value for money.
Product, nothing else.
It became features, then that plateaued, then it was this kind of price war, that many megapixels for that price, and all those kind of nonsense in the way in terms of real value added to the user. And we came in with a very different tech on what tech should be in terms of the overall experience, but both from the hardware in terms of how the products looked all the way to the overall user interface. And gradually we've been kind of continuously working towards that and really shaping up to what's very unique user experience and value proposition for our products. And also having this mindset of like rethinking the overall user experience. It started with hardware and then kind of translated into software gradually. And as we've been building our product capabilities, we're actually super excited about the future, because there's just so much to be done when it comes to the smartphone. The smartphone user experience hasn't changed ever since the first iPhone has launched. Of course, bigger screens, things are becoming faster and so on, but drastically it hasn't really changed. Whereas our world has completely changed, the way we interact with technology, the role of technology in our everyday lives. So we've been kind of really thinking about this and kind of gradually going to be rolling out a new way on how people will be interfacing with the smartphones.
Wonderful. So, as I understand this, as much as you've spoken about it, you're on a journey and you're trying to explore how this journey could be bigger, better, with lots of value add and with new user experiences for your audience. This is also the age of possibilities. There's technological disruption that's happening, and there's a huge audience of very young, aspirational people who are there, who are just waiting to lap up something that would add value to their lives. How are you talking to them?
To be honest, again, we've been making products that we're proud using ourselves. Like, we consider ourselves as users first and foremost. And what we saw across our journey is that actually, the sort of organic traction around the brand, because, we feel that way, but then there's millions of people that feel like us. There are millions of people that, look at their products beyond pure functionalities. They have a more kind of aspirational need. And across the years, that kind of audience pool has like drastically kind of increased. And basic things like, even I was looking at, last year's kind of our social media, and the level of engagement compared to any other brands in the industry is off the roof. So we have almost within our journey brought this kind of community of users that have been supporting us and advocating for us as they're really kind of, believing in what we're building. So I think it's more about, driving the right level of aspiration of what, technology could be eventually, and not just going into this nonsense of like specs wars and where we don't really know what the end state is going to be. So people have been following us since day one. They've been, seeing us growing, and as we grow, the sort of level of innovation and opportunity is getting bigger for us. So people are getting excited, and again, last year, just by simply experimenting a bit in India in more kind of traditional marketing, but not that much, like we were able to grow by over 500%. So it's definitely working well.
Okay, so apart from your business growth, are you also seeing a growth in terms of your association with your customers, where they feel you as a brand is not only acceptable, more acceptable to them, but it's something that they resonate with? It is something that adds value to their lives.
No, exactly. I mean, I think, our smartphone is probably our most important device. And actually, going back to how we kind of look at users, when we started the company, before even releasing our first product, we did a community investment round, because from the get-go, when we announced that we're going to launch a new brand, we had like such level of enthusiasm around it. So we decided to open a community investment round. So our point was like, okay, you guys, we haven't even launched. You've been supporting us, talking about us, like we're giving you an opportunity to have skin in the game. So, you won't be just cheering from the sideline, but being part of the company and hopefully having that financial upside. And that kind of community play, we're talking about authenticity before, we've been very authentic to it. So not only we did this, but part of those investors, every year we elect a community board observer. And that person sits in all our board meetings and kind of give all the feedback from users.
So the customer becomes the stakeholder in a way within the company.
And building with us, because, the level of creativity and inspiration that comes through those guys is incredible. And last year, while again, we'll talk about authenticity, a lot of brands in this space have been talking about community, building and all that stuff, but no one has really lived up to it. And last year, what we did, we took our Phone 2A Plus and we did a community edition. So there were different stage gates, and then our users kind of co-created a variant of our phone. So submitting different kind of ideas and so on, and we made it happen. But the reality, to make that happen, it does require a lot of resources, both from a human resources, but also financial, like to create that kind of variant. But that's how we really think about community in a very authentic way. And we realized actually it brought new ideas on how we could kind of think about even software and hardware, how we could kind of explore further the CMF of our phones. So I think it's a win-win at the end if done well and if done authentically.
So AI, how do you see AI disrupting your business, and how AI is possibly an advantage for your kind of business?
Yeah, I mean, AI has been one of those kind of buzzwords. It was like 5G, and before that, I don't know what it was. Like every time it becomes a buzzword where, everyone is like bombarding with AI,
And everybody's jumping into it.
jumping into it, talking about it, but they almost forget about the users. What are the real use cases we're solving for them? So for us, we going to take a gradual approach. We're not going to go into this kind of brainwashing kind of AI marketing direction. Is more because AI is a tool. Like people don't even almost need to know about it. It's what's working on the background, but like let's focus on what it can change. So for us, starting this year, we're going to be gradually ramping up our kind of AI products, but really anchored in real use cases so that people can start seeing the value of it, and then gradually kind of ramping up. And being a brand that has been a lot more bold when it comes to, different bets on how we approach product, whether it was hardware or software, we have that ability to take a bit more risk on kind of rethinking, what's this AI-led user interface going to be. Yeah, we have a few things in the pipeline that we rolled out this year. We're quite excited. So it's almost like two stream. One, kind of start rolling out solving real use cases. And then in parallel, maybe taking a bit of a bolder approach on what that could look like.
So as I understand, rather than AI dominating your conversation, you would rather be focused on your product and the user experience, and AI possibly is
as it should be. I think if I tell my wife, oh, here is AI, like she doesn't care. Like, what can it do for me? What are the problems it can solve? And I think now we're quite overwhelmed as a society. There is just so much information. We just have like really fast-paced lives. And AI will be able to kind of eradicate a lot of like, mental burden that go into everyday tasks. And that's why we're focusing, what are the sort of easy wins that we can solve in terms of like really streamlining this and eventually allowing you more brain space to do things you enjoy doing.
Another big buzzword is innovation. So in your industry, in your business, what is the innovation that you are going to bring or you're working on that's going to possibly add a little more context in the lives of your consumers?
I think again is like we've been talking about this kind of user interface. Drastically the smartphone kind of user interface hasn't really changed, and I think that's where we have a few ideas on how that could change in today's world.
We'll wait for you to unravel them as time goes by. India also, like you said earlier, is a big market for you. What are your plans for India? Because the Indian audience would really like to know about Nothing and the kind of experiences you're going to bring to them, because they're really bored with what they have.
They're definitely bored, and
give me something new.
They're really into tech as well.
Yeah.
I mean, in India, people know the tech. I'm actually super astonished by this, compared to Western markets. Like people really know their product to an expert level, and this is why also Nothing has been doing so well.
I think access to the internet also changed a lot of things. Also, you would be aware of it. India also has a Digital India mission, where the government has actually promoted, the use of digital assets, and it's working very well for India.
No, I mean, it's there are a lot of government initiatives, and for us, again, last year, just by experimenting a bit, we showed that we saw that there was, a lot of excitement, a lot of people buying our products, and I think is us just getting started, to be honest, because this was just an experiment last year. So this year we're going to be doubling up. We have a lot more aggressive plans moving forward in terms of our business operations as well in India. We currently manufacture in Chennai, but we also, looking further to do more there as well. So yeah, super excited. I think it's going to be such a exciting market and not only for 1-2 years, but for the unforeseeable future.
On your journey, yes. So a very critical question: when does the Indian at the last mile get to hold a nothing smartphone?
And that's the approach we've been taking as well. We've been quite true to this. We started with our flagship lines. Last year we started entering different price segments, but with the same value proposition. Every single segment we entered was like a very different value proposition that's just going this kind of value for money. And more importantly, our software experience remained the same. Whether it's a flagship product or entry-level product, it's the exact same approach, exact same philosophy. And we're talking about, how people are interacting with technology. We've had these concepts ever since we started about a more intentional smartphone usage. This is where we had the sort of glyph interface at the back of the phone that you could customize in terms of lighting patterns so that you would understand what's going on your phone without all the time looking at the screen. So it's the first filter that sort of encourages you eventually not to look at your screen. And then once you kind of turn your phone, we have the widget system that kind of pulls all the information on your homepage, hopefully, delivering what you need. But then if you still need to kind of go deeper and like open your app drawer, we've introduced a monochrome mode. And there it eradicates all the colors from the apps that have been really engineered at grabbing your attention. And that way, our kind of approach to this is, okay, how can we ensure that the reason why you open your smartphone in the first place is what you end up doing? Because a lot of times you take your smartphone for A and you end up doing B. So that whole kind of more intentional smartphone experience will also be embedded into our software. But going back to your point, our approach remained the same, and we've been quite excited that we're able to bring this unique value proposition across different price segments. So hopefully everyone will have the ability to access to the Nothing products and Nothing ecosystem as a whole.
Finally, India is a very young country. The youth population is buzzing with ambition, excitement, crafting a wonderful future for themselves. How would you place yourself in this story where we are seeing a new, resurgent, very buoyant, effervescent India, and here you come with a new idea of a smartphone? How will the twain come together?
I mean, I have goosebumps because like it's exactly, the company we want to be. We want to be driving that generation. We just don't want to be this kind of cold, functional tech brand. We want to be building with them. We want to be driving them, and be that brand that is aspirational. Drives them and also across our journey. We started. People thought we're crazy entering this industry. Look where we are today, and it's just the beginning. But so far, for the younger generation, they value authenticity, they buy into the brands. But to be honest, when you kind of take a step back, there is a lot of options out there, even though people feel like it's an oversaturated market. All the brands have been and thinking that India is a just value for money market. We're going to come like best value, tricking the youth.
And volumes.
And
Because
volume.
of a huge population.
But the new audience, is picking up. It's crazy, the level of energy and skills and talent that you see. But and those people are buying into more aspirational brands, and we want to be that brand that they look up to and like come along on our journey for sure. So I definitely foresee Nothing being the generational brand that Apple was when we grew up.
That's a wonderful journey that you're on, and I wish you luck in
Thank
India
you so much.
as well. It was wonderful talking to you about your journey and about what Nothing is.
Likewise.
So
Thank you so
there
much.
was a lot about Nothing here, much more than Nothing is, but this is nothing compared to what he has in mind for the Indian audience. Akis, thank you so much for being with us, for coming to the Global Business Summit all the way from London, and for
Thank you
sharing
for
your
the
vision for India. That was Akis Evangelidis, the co-founder of Nothing, talking to me on the sidelines of GBS 2025. This is ET Edge Insights. More stories coming up.